All right, here we go. Here we go. Now we're live. What's up? What's up, y'all? Welcome to TC Lounge. This is TC or Titan C from some of y'all know. All right, y'all. I need to catch my breath. Feel like I've been at the gym running a marathon. All right. With no further ado, we're just gonna jump into it. Thank God for giving me this opportunity to use this gift He gave me to bring y'all information. So this evening we have genealogist. I actually had to ask him. I said, let me make sure I get it politically correct because, I want to make sure I do it right. So, but here is Mr. Tyrone Goodwyn. He's the cousin. There you go. Shout out to the cousin. So I'm gonna bring him up, and we gonna get into it. So, cuz, what's up?
What's up, cuz? How are you?
I'm good. Like I said, I literally was running up and down the steps trying to make sure I got this right. So I need to catch my breath. So if I sound out of breath, that's what it is. Thank you, sir. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
That's good, man. Yeah, I would have gave you more of an intro, so I'm gonna try. So he resides. Do you want me to tell y'all, let them know all of that too, or you gonna hold off on that? Where you staying at? Because some people like, I don't want them to know my location, but
You intro?
all right. Well, he resides, if you don't mind, in
The nation's capital.
there you go, the nation's capital, DC. So, but I will say this. So, everyone that's tuning in, make sure to let people know, like, subscribe, comment. Looks like I got comments now. I need to jump to. Oh, there we go. I do have to. There you go. Memorable moments. You know who that is? She said, hi, fam. I think you know who that is. If not, I'll let you guess. So, yep, I think you know who it is. So, but we're going to get into it. So, let me just go break it down to y'all. So, this guy, I met him some years ago at a family reunion.
He was playing saxophone.
And shout out. He gonna shout me out. I appreciate it. And I was playing saxophone. Man, you got good memory. This is why you're the historian of the family. See, look, you remember stuff I didn't even remember. I was playing saxophone. So yeah. So we, long story short, he met me while I was playing at one of the family reunions, and I want y'all to know he is truly, truly gifted when it comes to memorizing stuff and breaking stuff down when it comes to the family tree, the genealogy. Let me tell y'all, the first time I heard him do it, and I'm sure I wasn't the only person there, I have a feeling when he started talking about the family, he got halfway in the story and everybody was lost. They was just like, what? And it wasn't because he didn't know what he was talking about. Obviously he did, but it was just the fact that, one, I feel like a lot of people had never heard of information before, and two, it's just real complex. You know what I'm saying? So he decided to bless us with all the information. I forgot what year. We actually gonna get into it, but he even made it to a point. He's like, you know what? Let me just put all information. If y'all want to get it, it's right here. This website. So he made it easy so you can go see it. So accessible. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. Tyrone Goodwyn. How you doing, man? Again.
I'm very happy to be here, cuz, and happy to talk to the audience.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And so we so glad you get a chance to come. Cause I'm gonna tell you this before I get into it. This is definitely a good one. Cause I feel like there's a lot of people who want to know about their family. You know what I'm saying? Or family, and it's just, it's a question mark for them. It's like, who's my, well, not me per se, but then like, who's my family, and they might be, and some really want to know. Cause if I'm just gonna be honest, it was actually one of my questions, which I'm gonna save for later. But some people want to make sure because they don't want to end up, I'm just going to keep it real, they don't want to end up marrying their family member. So, because it's happened, accidental, and we'll get into that on purpose type of stuff, years and years. So, here we go. I'm just going to go through the questions, and we'll let you roll with it.
Okay.
So, let's see. So, we already told him he's a genealogist. So, what made you want to do genealogy, or what made you want to do the family tree and history?
So I bought exactly one prop.
One.
That one prop.
Okay. Wow.
This.
Roots.
So you know, a lot of people say that the movie Roots is what had them first interested in family history.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always a very big kid. So for me, it was the book.
Yeah, all right.
The book came first.
Uh-huh.
So that's my original 1976 copy of Roots.
Wow.
I read it twice. And that's when I started working.
Wait a minute. That's the original book?
This is my original 1976 copyright version of Roots. All 688 pages. I read it twice.
What?
As a 15-year-old.
Wait a minute, 15?
I was 15. I was 61. So I was 15. Roots came out in 76. I bought the book and read it, and then read it again, and then started asking my eldest questions and never stopped.
Wow. That's deep, man. Like, the reason why I'm shocked, because it looks like you just bought it. It looks fairly new. There doesn't look no scratches, no nothing on it. That's why I had to ask.
Well, I told you I was an idiot. I took care of my books. It was all nicely taped together, taped and everything. Yeah. I got the cover, the inside cover, taped and everything. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Let's see. Before I even get started, I'm gonna throw up a couple of messages real quick before I even go for it, because you already got people. Look, there we go. You got people shouting you out.
Yeah, but I'm hearing feedback that they are too.
From me?
From me.
Uh-oh. They are? That's what it said. We're getting feedback. Oh, okay. Let's see. One of the favorite books. I love them both. Let's see. Oh, that's what he was saying. He said when feedback. All right. So let me see what we can do. Are you using let's see what type of mic. You got your mic, or you just using?
I'm on my laptop.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have a mic? Well, we'll try to work through it. So if y'all hearing, let's see. We'll just keep talking. Y'all hear more feedback, just let us know. We'll try to work something out. So even if we gotta try something new. So let me see. So let me make sure I got this question. You start wanting to know what the family. Okay, here we go. Good question. So you already went in genealogy, as y'all heard. He said, it was the book Roots. That's where it started. So side note, did you? And I feel like I know the answer, but did you like the movie better or the book?
That's a hard question. Nobody ever asked me that before, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
I love them both.
Okay. Wow. I thought you were going to say the book. I don't know. No, I promise you. I was like, he probably going to say the book. But because, some books are better than movies.
Because I love the movie. But, think about when the movie came out. That many black people were on screen.
Oh.
And every single one of them was in the movie. So that was significant to us.
Wow. Okay. That, you know what? That makes sense. Cool. Let's see. All right. So when you started, genealogy, when you wanted to, now, I'm going to try to make sense of this, because I had a way about writing the questions. Like, every so often that's a good question to ask some more. We'll see. So I just asked it. When you started wanting to know about, when you started the genealogy, did you want to know about the family, or did you want to help others, or both, if that makes any sense? Because some people, they get into it because they just want to help people, know about their like other people's families. And then some who like, you know what, I want to know about my family. I'm missing something, but I also want to help others who might be going through the same thing. So I guess what was your motivation? What helped, in terms of doing that?
My initial motivation was just to follow what Alex Haley did and to learn my family.
Mm-hmm.
As I grew up and went through some things and understood how the world works, then two things became important to me. One, I came to the understanding of knowing who you are, who your family is, and where you come from. is important for you to be able to navigate the stuff that the world shows you. So that's helped me. I knew that family history helped you. And then two, I felt like I did have an experience to help other families.
Okay. Wow. Take notes, y'all. I meant to say in the beginning, take notes, because he might be saying some stuff that it might help y'all out. So that's cool. So with all of this, of course, when you venture into this, there's always going to be challenges, I'm assuming. So what were some of the challenges, like when you started, looking into the family, the genealogy and stuff? Like, what are some challenges you came across?
Well, let's remember that I'm old. So
no, you're not.
There was a challenge, and there was no internet.
That's true.
I used to have to get in my car and drive to North Carolina and go to the courthouses and register.
Wow. Yeah, I heard that. See, I was gonna ask you when you started, but hey, listen, if you wanna, cause I was like, should I ask him when he started?
Yeah,
cause let me ask, wasn't there? Wait, doesn't he hear? So you came in, I guess, in terms of the family tree for us. There were some people already trying to do it, or when you jumped on, there was nobody doing it. I can't remember.
In terms, well, no, that was outside of New Jersey.
Okay.
And so he was running the reunion, and he was actually trying to find out about his French family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The other thing I want to go back to the previous question. The other thing that was different when I first started, that was a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
If you stop and think up through the like when the internet first went out to the general public in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, you didn't have like the websites to collect all this data and sell it back to you. It was volunteers going into the counties and typing in the data on the internet, right?
Okay.
And very often we wouldn't copy the stuff people of color.
Wow.
And so it used to be that finding records of color was very difficult because white people wouldn't have it.
Wow, that's deep. So pretty much it was like the beginning stages, like Wikipedia, because Wikipedia, people go on there, edit it, and they send information. Oh.
Yeah, there was a volunteer page. Like every state, every county had a volunteer page. And so if you could depend the county, you could volunteer. You would go put the birth record in, or the marriage license, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't something common for the people to. And I don't know whether it was racism or I'm volunteering my people out here.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the reason, as a result, people of color weren't.
Wow. So, and I can only imagine with something like that, it makes people sad, angry, because they're like, why didn't they give us this information? I mean, some people might know, but for those who just out of curiosity, why do you feel that situation even happened? I feel like a lot of people know, but some people just want to see what you want to say. Like, why would they keep that information from people of color?
Yeah, I don't think it was so much that we want to keep this information from people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Last month I was doing some work in Florida, and I was looking for somebody's marriage license.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a book online that was written in the 1930s of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And it said Nassau County, Florida, marriage license.
Mm-hmm.
But when I looked at it, it was only the white license.
Mm-hmm.
Because in those counties, there was a white book and a black book.
Mm-hmm.
They literally kept different books for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the Daughters of the American Revolution in the 1930s came through to transcribe that, they took the white book, because remember they were taking it at the time, they didn't allow black people.
Yeah.
So they picked up the white book and they made a nice clean for that, and now it's on the internet. Somebody like you were looking at it, and you go, oh, that's Nassau County marriage license. But I need to remember that not because we didn't exist, not because we didn't have marriage license, that nobody transcribed that book.
Ah, now that makes sense. So it was stuff out there, and they might not know, or they know, but they couldn't understand it because it wasn't, yeah, transcribed.
Yeah, they picked up what was relevant to them. Now, the good news is that's changing. That's like, we're almost at 180 degrees. There's very many white people doing the exact opposite. That's going through old wills and picking out the names of people that are in those wills, putting those on the internet, making them available to people of color. So, and that's within the last decade. I mean, a lot of, there's a lot happening in this world, but there's also a lot of good things happening in this world.
Okay. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So, cause I'm like, it's just taking all this in. A lot of this stuff is new to me too. I'm not even gonna lie. That I did not know. So it's just interesting when you really think about like how information, how it, how it's shared, and how some things are left behind. It's just so many things where the information can go. So that's why I feel like a lot of people want to hear from you, because of the simple fact that it's information they don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Information is power.
That's true. Information is very powerful. See, that's all we got you on. So let me see. Actually, when do you officially start? I don't know if you. Let me see. Okay. Did you have to? Even though you asked this, I feel like you can add more to it, but when it came to back then when you started, did you have to do a lot of traveling? I think you kind of answered that, but you can kind of elaborate on it more.
Yeah, I did. Particularly when I was younger, and hadn't been working very long, did not have a whole lot of money. So I could go. My grandfather was since 2022, so I was going to North Carolina regularly and Durant. So I would have to take a day before the holiday when the courthouse would be, when the register would be open, so I could do a little bit of work. So I could do a little bit of work in the courthouse before I spend it with family. But I had to just go there all the time, and because I didn't have to. It was 500 miles away. So yeah, it was different.
Hold up. You said 500 miles away. Did I hear you correctly?
I think it's 500 miles between DC and Burbank, North Carolina.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. So, thank you. Shout out to the wife. Look, she be looking out. Listen, y'all understand. I'm telling you, hey, support. Because I was like, I can't find my phone. But, so, this 500-mile trip, look, I already feel bad. You see how she came in here? Just listen. I'm telling you, I got support. I had to give her a shout out. So, this 500-mile trip. So, when you started doing this, did you just automatically start doing the 500-mile trip, or did it kind of just work its way up to 500 miles?
No, I mean, when I was living home, as you know, I'm from Tidewater, that's where I was born and raised. I moved to DC after I came out of college. But even then, that must have been probably 400 miles. So, well, the other thing I remember too is I'm used to it. My mother left her boss when she was 17 years old. When she came out of high school. And so my whole life I've spent going back and forth between Tidewater, Virginia, and Burbank, North Carolina, and Hamilton County. So that felt familiar to me, right? I don't know what time when I was not in the car with my parents going back and forth. As I got older, it was just me going with my car and my gas money to do research.
Wow. That listen. I don't know too many people that better pull it off. It takes a very dedicated person to get in the car, So this trip, how many times did you take it? I mean, let me rephrase that, because throughout the years, or let's just say like each year, for example. I don't know. Hopefully this makes sense. So each year, did you take a lot of those trips every year when you started really getting into doing genealogy?
Yeah, I would try to go at least once a year. Two or three times if I was lucky, but usually one.
Okay, one.
Up until the internet came out and Ancestry.com, and I have no I'm not a marketeer for Ancestry.com, but I do want people to think this. I hear a lot of customers saying, I'm not going to pay them. I'm not going to pay my heritage to other places. But my ancestors is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But like me, that is really gas money, wear and tear your car. Those people $200 a year. Shut up.
Right. Good, great. That's crazy. 200. Listen, because I'm thinking, because look, I'm like, there's a lot of people that won't take, I promise you, they look, some of them don't even want to get out their bed and go 15, 20, 30 minutes to a job, go 500 miles. Really? And I'm like, I don't think a lot of people understand, like, what you and other people who go through. Some people get it, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like a lot of people like, oh man, he just probably go online again. You said it wasn't internet yet, or it was, but it wasn't like it is now. Now you can, they got all kind of sites you can go to go, be able to look that stuff. But then no, so you literally went through the whole evolution of the internet, and you had to do stuff, as some people say, the old school way, new school way, and sometimes you probably had to do both.
Yep.
Because I feel like there's some places you went, probably didn't have much of a signal, but you still went. So, yeah, that's something else.
Well, there was no signal. There was no cell phone.
There you go. See, that's the other thing. There was no cell phone, unless you got the 80s big Motorola one, but that's going to something else. So, let's see. Did you have any help in the beginning? When you started doing it, was it just you by yourself, or you went and had some help?
I'm going to say, I was the only one asking questions and writing stuff down. But help, I had the elder. I really concentrated on my mother's family. I mean, my father's family considers to be the historian. I haven't done a quarter of the work on my dad's side that I did on my mother's side. And I consciously concentrated on my mother's side first because I still had grandparents and great aunts, great uncles. My grandparents had siblings alive. My grandparents had aunts and uncles alive. So I knew I had this set of elders that I needed to talk to. Whereas on my father's side, they were all gone. Right? So they had lots of people. And I correctly figured out, even as a kid, I can go through that paper.
Yeah.
Those bosses will be there later. I need to concentrate on my mama's family because they're alive.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's my help.
Wow. So you had family. So you was able to start from somewhere. You was able to start from somewhere with the family. It just wasn't like no place. You had somewhere to go. So.
Oh yeah, my granddad and my grandmother, I would go find something out, and then I bring it to them and say, "Is this true?" And they'd be like, "I seem to remember that," or "No, they think that, but here's the real truth." So I had great elders that was giving me information. I still got notebooks behind me with notes I took.
Okay. Let's see. They're still saying they're hearing some feedback. So let's see what we can do. I think there's a feature on there that says something about moving the echo. I don't know if you can see it. One moment, y'all. We're gonna try to fix this. Let's see. Oh. Do you see a setting? It says something about settings at the bottom. Do you see that, Tyrone?
I do see settings.
Let me see. We're gonna try something. Thank y'all for being patient with us. Yeah. I think there's a button that says audio.
I just clicked something that said reduce mic background noise.
Okay. Do you got something that say echo cancellation?
Yeah, that was already clicked.
Okay, that was already clicked. Okay, so reduce. Let's try it now. Let's see, let's see, reduce background noise. All right, let's see if that works. Studio adjust. All right.
I clicked that.
Okay, we gonna try it now. Y'all can let us know. Excuse me, y'all. Y'all can let us know if that's better. We'll see how it going in. We'll go from there. So, for those that didn't hear, we're still working through. I'm just gonna give them. It was a lot at the end, and at the end of the live, he's gonna we'll make sure to let him know to give you some information. So pretty much what he was saying. We went through the list. I'm gonna go down. He started way back. I'm just kidding. We started back, and he before the internet. So imagine y'all if y'all were trying to get the family tree together, and y'all didn't have the information like we have now. He started back then. He started with really no cell phones. He drove 500 miles and some change. So he's been definitely on the like working. He's definitely doing this, and he's been doing this for a while. So now I'm hearing echoes. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Now I'm hearing echoes on my side, sir. Let's see. Let's try something. We're going to work this out. You know how it is. So, technology. All right. So, anyway, like I was saying, let's see. We're going to try some more. Oh, here we go. So, we know that you've been doing research for a while, and you've been, like I say, drove a lot of miles to get to a lot of information. You had families. I have to put it out there because I drive a lot of miles. I'm not going to say what I do, but people know, listen, it can be taxing sometimes. So was there a time?
I hate to drive that.
No, you didn't. Yeah. So, here we go. I'm clear. Thank you. So we have a question. Remember moments. I'm going to throw it up before I get to my question. So, there you go. What have been his challenges when trying to collect information?
Challenges.
Oh, you about to have some good questions today, sir. I'm going to tell you.
Well, like I said in the past, one challenge was that people of color's records were often not transcribed. Mm-hmm. Where I am right now is I've got a lot of data about our family, you guys know. And so now my brick walls are real brick walls. I mean, it's where there's no records to support, Mm-hmm. So a brick wall for me is when there's no marriage life, there's no death certificate. Maybe some of them back in the 1700s or 1600s. Mm-hmm. And, I'm just not going to find any documents that remain because of courthouse fires, floods, because of whatever. There's no records that will help me get up that wall.
Wow. Okay. That actually brought me into my next question. I was going to say, was there a time where you came to a halt and you actually just answered that? And to add to that, when you came to a halt, like that, like a brick wall or just stopping, what did you do in that situation? Did you just like take a breather and was like, you know what, I'm going to pull back, let me collect myself? Or did you say, you know what, I'm going to just keep on trying to push through it?
I do everything in Excel because I'm just that kind of nerd.
Okay.
So when I have a research problem, I've got all my notes in Excel. If I hit a brick wall, I do what you said. I work it until I'm exhausted, and then I put it aside with all of my notes.
Okay.
And then I've got a set of brick walls, and I'll just go back to them occasionally to see if one. Sometimes you can look at it differently on a different day and see something you didn't see before. Mm-hmm. Or new records are constantly being added online by the companies. I'll see if there's some more data that is new. I'll pick up a brick wall every now and then just to get over it.
Okay. Cool. All right. Now they're telling, let me see, they're saying it's still some echo. So I want to try something. Wow. We're going to try something a little different. That's okay with you? So, I'm going to have you. I'm going to see how this going to work. I don't know. We're going to try this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call you, right? And they're just going to hear you from the mic. You can keep your camera going. You can just mute yourself. And then I'm just going to call you so they can hear it. So I see what's going on with the echo.
So you're going to try the audio from the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm audio, and I'm just going to have it on. I'm going to get the microphone so they can hear you. But you can just mute it. So we're going to try to work it that way. Thank y'all for being patient. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Let me, while we get in this situation, make sure you like, comment, share, let people know about it. Mr. Tyrone, he's talking about Genealogy, family tree, same thing. Here we go. All right, so here we go. So what we're gonna do now? We're gonna try something slightly different, and we appreciate y'all, everybody, tuning in. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay. Thank y'all. We appreciate it. Here we go. Let me know if y'all can hear that.
Okay.
And then if y'all hear echoes, let me know. We're gonna work this out, cause I don't know, but thank you, sir. We're gonna work this out. So the part we're at now, he's talking about he pretty much has been times where he came to a brick wall, right? Did I get it right?
Yep.
Okay. So he came to a brick wall, a halt, but as he said, even though he had that, he kind of maybe pulled back, but he exalted himself, so he still kept pushing through. Did I get it right?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. Now we're on the same page. Y'all hear some echoing? Let us know. I don't think y'all gonna hear it. So now, next question I have is, let me see. What are some key factors to research? I think you answered that. Well, you can elaborate. So when it comes to research, because I know you answered a lot. I guess we're gonna jump back because the echo makes sure everybody heard it. So what are some key factors when it comes to doing research?
Some key factors.
Like what are some to you that you feel like that really helped you into getting all the information that you needed for the family tree? When you was doing all that stuff, the history.
I'm gonna try to boil this down because I've just been doing these classes last month in March and February on how Black people can do research in terms of how we bring our full selves to the table, our culture to the table. One of the most important things is to have a plan. If you're doing it in a spreadsheet, if you're doing it in a Word file, if you're doing it in a notebook, right at the top, what your question is, what are you looking for? I'm looking for Grandma Annie's father. I'm looking for when cousin so-and-so passed away, whatever. Write that research topic down, because if not, you'll get distracted. You'll find other neat things. It's like, oh, a squirrel. You'll be off in some other place, right?
Yeah.
You want to know what you're looking for, and keep all that information together. So if it is a brick wall, you've got one place to go to pick that back up, and you remember what you were looking for. Right? In my less organized past, sometimes I would find an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of stuff, and I would be like, why was I keeping this? What was I looking for? What was the purpose of it? Right? Yeah. So have a plan, have a question, and that's how you keep yourself organized.
Have a plan, have a question. Wow. Answers and questions. That's what all it is. So let me ask you. Now here it goes on my end. I'm gonna try to we're gonna do better. So okay. So did you have any surprising moments? Like when you're doing research, did you have something like, oh man, I had no idea, or wait a minute, this person is such and this celebrity is such and such is family, or did you have any surprising moments?
I'm not surprised anymore because our family is so big and so broad that when I run into people that have some level of fame that I see are related to us, it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Okay.
The one thing I could say is, as the researcher, you always need to be ready to be surprised. Like sometimes, if I use the example I was talking about, I'm looking for I'm making stuff up, Grandma Annie's father. You might find all the data that is looking like this guy named Joe. And all the data is lining up, and you're like, oh, it's Joe. It's Joe. I really believe it's Joe. You need to always be prepared that it might not be Joe. So sometimes, because you're trying to build all the evidence, you can't just find one document and say that's it. Sometimes you have to put a lot of circumstantial evidence together. And as you're doing that, sometimes the data will take a turn on you, and just as you think you're about to solidify that the person is Joe, it was Ben.
And you have to be ready for that. You can't just say, no, it's Joe because I wanted to be Joe, because you got it wrong. You're just holding on to something wrong just because you're stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to realize that, one, Ben is the right answer. And two, whatever you learned about Joe, or whatever you learned in that wrong work, that can be used elsewhere.
Wow. So really, expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, speaking of that, we kind of go into the next one. So, when it came to your research, do you feel like it's gonna be interesting? Well, I'm just gonna say, do you feel like when you did your research that it was connected to a lot of, as people would say, famous people or celebrities?
I mean, we're finding people in our family that are famous because of the nature of our family. You know, our family has been free since the early 1700s. You know, Daniel Jacobs, my ancestor, was free by 1704. And so because we were free people of color, we did a couple of things, as you alluded to before. One, we married each other like crazy because we were the only folks to marry, right? And because if you think about when the Civil War ended, one, we were free before the war, we were free after the war. We've been free for 200 years, so we were able to kickstart Black America as we now know it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Fayetteville State University has 7 founders. 6 of them were our people.
Wow.
So our family's had the thing in a lot of pies, you can say. So I think it's the guy that's the head of the Department of Environment, the EPA.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw that he was the head of EPA, and then I saw his last name, and I forget what it is, but I was like, no, I didn't see his last name. I saw he was from Greensboro, and I was like, oh, he can.
Just like that. So I'm talking about the internet, see?
It doesn't surprise me anymore, because I know that my family has a broad reach, and it has a thing in a lot of pies.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So based on what I was talking about, like the whole famous, so do you, from what you researched, and this is gonna be kind of broad, I'm gonna try to answer it the best way. So do you feel like, from what you see, do you think some of the famous people were more on like groundbreaking, like colleges, education, school, or more so like the entertainment industry, like arts, if that makes any sense? Like I guess what section do you started kind of seeing where they all had some kind of common interest, or when it came to history?
It's all over. I mean, we were big on education because we founded so many colleges. Like I said, we founded Fayetteville State. We were one of the founders of Livingston, I think is the name of it. It's a Methodist school in North Carolina. We were the second president of North Carolina A&T. One of our people was the superintendent of colored schools in Memphis right after the Civil War. One of our people was the first woman of color to receive a college degree in America. Wow. So it went on to D.C. here to teach at the first colored high school in America. It's right down the street from me right now. And when it started, it was like college. You had this people, because it was the only high school period. So people would send their kids to D.C. like you send them to college to go to high school. And the principal was one of our people. Langston Hughes, that lived around the corner from me for a minute. He's one of our people.
Wow. So
education, the arts, Kelly Jacobs, that was on the Oprah show called, I can't think of the name of it. She's an actor and a violinist. She's us. As you know, one of the greatest basketball players, but only kin to a small part of us. So don't call me, people, and tell me you can't hear, because you're
I know what you're about to say.
Don't play with me.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. Go ahead. So the greatest player, because you got some people who we know, you can tell them who it is. It's people who think other people are great, but if you want to, because I had it.
So there was a man named Moses Bordeaux who was an enslaver, and he enslaved a lot of people, and he died in 1859. His people were split up in 1861. Some of his people went to his son, whose last name was Bordeaux. These are enslaved people.
Yeah.
And those people were my grandfather's only enslaved line. Some of his other people went to his daughter that was married to a herring. And this is how our North Carolina kin were sort of complacent. So they were inherited by this guy in 1861. Then came the war. Then the war is over. And when the Freedmen's Bureau came through to give them last names so that they could register their marriages, they called them herrings, and they were like, fine, we'll be herrings. And they're herrings. And those herrings that married into just one small sliver of our family gave rise to me and gave rise to Michael Jordan.
Wow. Yep. Michael Jordan. Now listen, like you said, don't call this man talking about some. Oh, wait.
Tell me you kin to him. I know your tree.
Listen, don't do that to him, because he probably gonna tell you he can't help you. But yeah, that's what I heard, and it's funny. I heard it, and I was just like, I remember years ago. Let me tell you what I did. I was like, yo, I think I related Michael Jordan. Let me tell you, when I went to school, of course you know the reaction I got, so I stopped saying it. They was like, no, you're not, sir. I was like, okay, whatever. Anyway, but yeah.
Well, I think it's also important that everybody deserves to not be chased by 800 cousins.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, I let people live. I'm living my life. I let everybody live their lives. I'm not trying to chase anybody.
I know that's right. Everybody trying to do their own thing. Yeah, so interesting. Oh, also, because I remember you did a seminar some years ago. W.E.B. Du Bois. Family? Nope. Okay. I knew you was doing a video. I couldn't remember. Okay, he's not. Okay. Have to look back at it. Wow. So we got people into the education. We got some people that do sports.
Playwrights.
And playwrights. Wow. You want to speak on that? Like, who some people playwrights?
So when I say our people now, I'm talking about this whole clan of free people of color in southeastern North Carolina.
Yeah.
If you are on Ancestry.com, if you've done your DNA, then you know that all of these people are related because we were the people that they had to marry each other.
Yeah.
So Lynn Nottage is a famous playwright. She's the one that did. We as a family in the middle of COVID went to one of her plays online. It was on Broadway. It was called Blocking on the Name. It's set in a restaurant.
Okay.
But she actually had 3 plays at the same time. She had MJ. She did MJ on Broadway, and then she did this play that I saw. I can't think of the name of. And then she also had something at Lincoln Center. She had 3 things going in New York at the same time. But she's a renowned playwright, and she comes from the Wynn family, W-Y-N-N.
W-I-N. Okay.
Down near Goldsboro, which is our people.
Wow. That's something else. Let me see that. Listen, this all this stuff you say, it's just interesting to me because, like, you know, a lot of stuff I knew, some things I did, and also the other people. We got some of the family, some people who are just tuning in, even if you know they're not family, they just tuning in. I think overall everybody is just, you know, they're interested, you know, because when they hear stuff like this, they like, wow, really, I didn't know that, because a lot of stuff they don't know, you know, and sometimes and correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. You know, if it's not in their sight, like, you know, because everybody's busy, sometimes they don't ever get that chance to really look into the family tree. So, got a question for you.
One more star?
Yeah. Huh?
This is important. North Carolina is kicking off the 250th celebration of this country.
Okay.
And it's kicking off in Halifax, North Carolina next weekend.
Yes.
And myself and 2 of our cousins are presenting. We've been asked to present to talk about the free people of color that fought in the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
So, Jacobs, Carters, Webbs, Manuels, Wins, my partners and I have researched all of these people, the southeastern North Carolina people, because we know those names. And so this is our 4th time doing this presentation. But we were asked to help kick off America's 250th celebration help the North Carolina's 250th celebration of this country. Those are stars, and that's really important for us to know, particularly given the social and political climate right now. There's so many forces that would lead our children to believe that they are not as American as anyone else, or less than, or have taken from America. Mm-hmm. But it's imperative for us to understand that we literally built this country. We fought, and these are not segregated units. Our people fought in unsegregated units in the Revolutionary War. Mm-hmm. And the next time we did that was Vietnam.
Wow.
When my daddy fought in World War II, it was segregated. When my cousin, who's a Walker, was killed in Korea, it was segregated. When my granddaddy fought in World War II, it was segregated all the way back. But in the Revolutionary War, and that's why it takes somebody like myself and my cousins Kevin Graham and Luke Alexander to do this work, because they aren't even listed as colored in the records. You have to know their last names and know who they are to note that they were of color. They fought alongside everybody else. They died like everybody else, and then they came home and paid double taxes, because people of color paid double taxes up until the Civil War.
Yeah.
So that's really important for us to understand. That's more important, I believe, than anything that you or I or any of the stars that we talk about are doing today.
Yeah.
We come from people that built this country and paid double taxes while they were doing it.
Wow. That's something else. So how is it, and I'm asking this per se, not for me, but for other people that might not know, why was it like that? Like a situation where some of the wars, like you said, you just talked about, they wasn't segregated, but then the other ones were.
As much as I love Roots, it did so much for us. Mm-hmm. But I think in the way that we have, to some extent, the way that we have absorbed and processed it, it's almost been a disservice. Mm-hmm. Because we tend to think that everything was just like that.
Yeah.
That's what slavery was like. Mm-hmm. Every, light-skinned child was a child of the master. And the stories are much more complex than that. And how that applies to your question is, in 1776, when the war started, slavery was new. White didn't exist until 1691. White did not exist until 1691. Right? So America had to literally create race and racism in order to create race-based slavery. There was transcontinental slave trade by the time of the Revolutionary War, so that part was in place. But my point is, it wasn't the same slavery and the same attitudes as, say, the 1850s, which were horrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? And they needed bodies. Think about it. These were colonists trying to rebel against the king. Mm-hmm. So they needed all able-bodied men to fight. So, and everybody was conscripted. Some of them volunteered, but if you didn't volunteer, you went anyway. Yeah. Right?
Right.
And so, they fought, again, it's amazing to me that I didn't realize this until I did the research, but until I processed it through my family, we fought alongside white men, we fought integrated, and we didn't do that again into Vietnam.
Wow. That's something. There's I'm trying to remember. I'm going to try to find it. When I get off the live, I'm going to try to find a movie. I haven't seen it yet, but there was a movie on Amazon Prime, I think, about a squadron. I think during the segregated times, they were down in Texas, and they was giving them all kind of like mess down there. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. I kept looking at the previews, and I thought it just reminded me of what you was talking about, because pretty much it was a squad of them, and they went to war. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, they ended up down there stationed in somewhere in Texas. And them guys down there, they was giving them such a hard time. It was like, we know you in the Army, but you still, what? So anyway, that's what I just want to put out there. But when I find it out, I'll probably post it. So, yep. So let's see. But interesting stuff. So let me give y'all a little rundown. It was a lot. Like I said, y'all can play this back. he said pretty much that down within the family tree that Michael Jordan is related to us in some way, but don't come chase him down. Y'all see? Say that again.
That many of y'all, you have to be married into the Herring family.
Y'all hear that? So y'all have to figure out if y'all are married into that family to say that y'all are related. And even still, you know, like you said, some people like they don't want a lot of people chasing after them. You know, they just want to enjoy a comfortable life. So let's see. Let me back up a little bit. So you just brought up about Halifax next week, right? You just did an event recently before. You wanna or you can elaborate on it. We can talk about that so people know.
Yeah, I was excited about that. So the Jacobs originally started on Eastern Shore of Virginia, which is that little peninsula that hangs off of Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. It's the little finger that runs off the coast. And we're from the very southern tip, the north, not just the Virginia tip, but the southern part of the Virginia tip. I'm not familiar with that area, even though I grew up in Tidewater, Virginia, so it's literally 18 miles across the Chesapeake Bay. But, you just don't run across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel for no reason.
Yeah.
So I'm not that familiar with that area. But long story short, because I've been doing work on that area recently and have been able to tie the relationship back to Gabriel Jacobs, our ancestor in 1640s, they asked me to come do a workshop. So I did a 2-day workshop. The intent was to repeat the workshop that I had done in D.C. for Black History Month, which again was to teach Black people how to do genealogy, not just how to find our records, but how to bring our way of being and our way of interpreting to the table. For example, I caution people, for us, family, you don't say, who is your mama? Grandma, who is your mama? Who is your daddy? We don't build those flat trees because for us, we're always about family. Who was raised in the house with you? Which cousins are like sisters and brothers? We build these broad trees because our sense of community is different than the majority. So all that kind of stuff. So it was a great workshop. I wish more people of color had showed up, but I made great contacts with the people on the Eastern Shore that I'm still sharing information with them, and I was just happy to be there.
Wow. So you had a pretty good turnout? You had a pretty good turnout with it?
We had a good turnout. I brought my own cousins, 2 cousins who are Jacobs that I had met on Ancestry.com in January. I matched them, and I looked at their trees, and they were from D.C. like me, but it stopped at their father. I could see that their father was a Jacobs, and it didn't go any further. And I thought, I should be able to figure this out. So, and I connected them to North Carolina, which they didn't know. That's what they were looking for, is who their father's people were. And they came to my class in D.C. and they drove all the way to Eastern Shore.
Wow.
To come to my class down there. So yeah, I brought my own people.
I see. Look, that is holding it down. That's what they say. Family. Listen, hey, you get the right family, hold you down. Hey, powerful. Hey. So, is it Can you do a playback on there? Is there anywhere where if somebody wanted to watch it, can they see it anywhere?
Unfortunately, not, because in DC it wasn't recorded at all.
Okay.
And I actually have a slideshow that I created. Well, for both of them, actually. I have it as a PowerPoint slideshow.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be at the reunion, so it can definitely be seen there.
Okay.
I'm hedging because I'm thinking about it. It's such a large file, I can't email it because I got video and stuff in it.
I understand. Yeah. So, actually, let's throw this in there for all my family members. This for y'all. You want to tell them when the family reunion is?
The family reunion is July 5th through 7th in Chesapeake, Virginia.
Okay.
I'm excited about this because, people use the name Pender Rock now. We're from Pender County. We landed there in 1752. And what we did in the 90s was all these different reunions. Again, people are related. These different reunions just sort of folded into each other So we literally became the Walker, Williams, Wheeler, plus Jacobs, Merritt, and so we had all these names, and I was like, we don't have enough T-shirt space. We're just gonna call it Pender Reunion of Color Kindred, Pender Rock, right?
Wow, yeah.
And so now people are used to. Some people miss their names at first, but people are used to the term Pender Rock now. Mm-hmm. But this year, Pender Rock for 1 year only is combining with the Maynard family reunion.
Oh.
Because again, we're the same people. We've always had separate reunions, and so we're not permanently combining. Mm-hmm. But for this year, we're going to have the reunion same time, same place, same people. So it's the Pender Rock Maynard family reunion. That's our cousins in Sampson County. So I'm excited about that.
That's cool. Now, what made y'all like do it this year, or just it was something y'all been trying to like do for a while? Or just like, you know what, let's just do it this year and see what happens.
Why they combined?
Yeah, like this year. Like I know you said normally they don't combine, but I know you saying y'all was trying it for this 1 year.
Well, my cousin Jill Jacobs is Pender Rock on her father's side, because that's my uncle. My mother and he are siblings. Mm-hmm. So she's Pender Rock on her father's side. On her mother's side, she's Maynard.
Oh.
So it was her turn to host the Maynard family reunion. Mm-hmm. Okay. And she said, Tyrone, you hosting Maynard. You're hosting Pender Rock. I'm hosting Maynard. Why don't we said, and so we checked with the people, right? We said, this is a democracy. It's not autocracy.
Right.
So it took over a month for the decision to be made. We checked with the elders. We checked with everybody. Everybody said yes. So we're together this year.
That's awesome. That is awesome. The more, the better people can learn, so that's pretty cool. So let me see. I'm going to get back to that. Now, you said something about the Eastern Shore. I know off camera on the phone we talked, and I'm laughing because I was like, do anybody know about it? And your response, you was like, not really. But you want to talk about the Eastern Shore? Because I had no idea about the Eastern Shore until you told me. But you told me it's kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like an island off to itself. Did I get it right?
It's a peninsula.
Okay.
So it's called the Delmarva Peninsula, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. Mm-hmm. So it's, just like in we're used to coastal North Carolina. We're used to like Topsail Island.
Yeah.
Right? You know how Topsail Island just kind of hangs off of North Carolina? Mm-hmm. Okay, up in Virginia, you have a longer peninsula because it literally hangs off of Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. It's a long strip. Mm-hmm. And it's magic.
Okay.
Like Harriet Tubman came from Eastern Shore.
Oh.
Frederick Douglass came from Eastern Shore. There's many of the freak names of the South came off of Eastern Shore. Not just Jacobs, but Jacobs, Carter, Webb, Beckett, Hammond, Revels. These are names that are all the way through North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Indiana. These people all came off of Eastern Shore. Mm-hmm. It's magic.
Wow.
And our ancestor was probably born around 1640, but I can find him there as early as 1655 as a boy. His name was Gabriel Jacobs.
Wow. So it's definitely it's a lot. Like it's a lot of history there. Sounds like it. Very a lot of history. Cool. So I know what I was like. So is there many ways onto that, or is it just like one way? I know you was telling me it's kind of a challenge. Yeah, I knew it was something I would ask you. So when somebody's trying to get to it, for those who might want to go, whatever, just to see a vacation or just get some information, like what makes it so difficult to even get to the island? I know you said it can be a pain sometimes getting to it.
Yeah, you're talking about the fact that I was, laughing and saying, well, now I live in D.C., mm-hmm. And so I needed to I live kind of up, that's the bad way to do it. I live kind of like up here, mm-hmm. Right? I needed to get here.
Oh.
So, and all of this is water, this is the Atlantic Ocean, this is the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah.
So I would either had to drive over to Maryland and go all the way down, mm-hmm. Or take the land over here and go all the way home to Norfolk and skip across the Chesapeake Bay up this way. Mm. And so that's why I was particularly. It felt weird to me. I was like, I got to go all the way down the peninsula, or go all the way home, and then come back up.
Wow.
Because it's a peninsula, you can't get there from the sides, right? It's ocean and Chesapeake Bay on the sides. You got to get there from the top, or come up from the Chesapeake Bay, that Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which is a lot of people can't do that because that's 18 miles of bridge.
Oh wow, you said 18 miles.
18.
That's a lot of bridge. That's so. Wow, but you've done it. How many times do you? I'm sorry. How many times do you go a year to go to the Eastern Shore? Do you do it regularly, or is just?
No. I went 2 years ago, I think, and then I went this time. I don't have any experience on the Eastern Shore because we left in 1733.
Okay, that makes sense. Wow. So let's see.
What I'm doing now is it's important for me for the Black people on the Eastern Shore to do their trees because Gabriel Jacobs had 2 children, Daniel Jacobs, whose family became free and left, but Jenny Jacobs, her children did not become free, and they stayed. So I'm going back now that I know this story. I'm trying to get the Black people on the Eastern Shore to do their trees to see if I can find the descendants of Jenny.
Okay. Wow. So, I'm just taking this all in. This is what this look is for. This look is I'm soaking all this information in. So, because it's a lot and it's good stuff, and I'm hoping people taking notes, and if not, just play it back, listen to it, because this stuff is really important, because we really do need to know who our peoples are.
We are ignoring Miss T, who I think is one of our cousins.
Oh yeah, I was getting there because I was gonna finish my statement, and I'm going to the top because there's some stuff up here. Nah, trust me, I better not ignore. So, that's my buddy. Well, not just that, but that's the wife. So the wife, let's see. She said we're gonna start from the top. All right. She said, the matter of fact, let me just put it up here. All right. So here we go. First question. How can someone able to seek info, also Native American background?
So there's Facebook pages. There's people called search angels. And that's what they do is they help find people who are adopted. They find their family.
Okay.
One of my friends does that. But I think one of the pages is called Search Angels. But you can probably look on Facebook because there's several of them. It's not just one. But they're volunteers. They're genealogists like me, and that's what they do. I don't do it because it's a different skill set. Like, the people I'm looking for got rigor mortis.
Okay.
But this is looking for living people, so it's a different skill set. You're looking on Facebook. You're looking in directories because you're looking for living people. But there's people that specialize in that, and they volunteer their time.
Okay. Wow. Let's see. Next question. How can someone with family that has lost their birth certificate in fire be relocated? Good question. Good question.
I gotta say, I don't know.
Yeah. Because we actually had a family member, which we'll talk about, actually on Walker side, no, Carr side. Anyway, we don't know his birthday. We just kind of go off what we've been told. And the thing is, the reason is because they said his birth certificate was lost in the fire. So the birthday we're celebrating, that's the one we know of, but it quite possibly might be that birthday might be earlier, So that's...
Well, there's 2 copies of the birth certificate. One should be with the county.
Oh, okay. See.
And is this in North Carolina?
This in North Carolina? Yeah. For me, the one I was stored, yeah, definitely North Carolina.
So most North Carolina counties, North Carolina is really good about this. Go to the Register of Deeds for that county online. And I haven't found one yet that does not have this, that kind of, well, it depends on when it is.
Okay.
Because, they don't want to have too much living people stuff, available to the general public, because then that could be, people can steal identities and all that hoopla.
Yeah.
But even if they don't have it online, you should be able to get in that Register of Deeds office.
Okay. Definitely keep that in mind. There's a lot of good questions up here. I was trying to get through. Let me see. Next question. Look, let me tell you, wife. Look, this her thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. She loved like knowing history, family. Here's another one. All right. What are the best? I think you talked about it. What are the best resources to help? Best resources to help in research pertaining to paper trails as well as DNA.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Ancestry again because they've got good records and they're the elephant in the room when it comes to DNA.
Oh.
You know, I'm tested on 23andMe, FTDNA, MyHeritage, and Ancestry.
I've
got almost 50,000 matches on Ancestry, and I got a couple of thousand on the rest of these. That's the difference.
Oh wow.
But in terms of, so I think it makes a lot of sense to test with them and also to pay them for their records. Now, free records. Anybody that's doing research and does not use FamilySearch.org needs to be taken to the woodshed.
Oh, wow. Why?
Because it's free.
Wow. Y'all hear that? What's that link again? Say it one more time.
FamilySearch.org.
Okay.
They have a lot of records and it's free.
FamilySearch.org. All right. Y'all take notes. He said it twice. Make sure you get it. If not, you can play it back. So, Ancestry. Okay. So, we'll get in that in a minute. Let me get to these other questions. Oh, you was telling a story, and did you say that we had some Jennings in the family, or did I mishear you? You said Jennings, I think it's Jenning.
No, I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, okay. It might have been. Yeah, I was wondering. Okay. Now, going back to the family tree, we know that family, of course, obviously travel, migrate, move all over the place. This next question is, do we have any Walkers in Alabama? Or anywhere in the South?
If we do, I hope they're using condoms.
Wait a minute. What? What just happened? Well, maybe. Yeah. He said, "Oh no, not down in Alabama."
I don't know of any.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because I'll be honest with you. We actually some years ago went to a wedding. It was actually a Walker, and I was like, "Oh, okay, last name. You know, let me ask him." And I walked up to him, and he was like, I said, are you got any kin here in North Carolina? Are you related? You know, the questions. And first thing he was like, nah, I'm from Alabama. That was his answer. He shut it down. And I was like, all right, congratulations on your wedding. So that's why I was asking that question. So, yeah. Next question, kind of going another direction, is about your workshops. I know you have a lot, you just did one, you got one coming up. How can they find more about, after this live, how can they find more about your workshops?
I post them on our Facebook page, which I did not want and now can't live without.
Okay. Wow. All right. So if y'all on there, you want to, what's the name of it on Facebook?
I think it's just called Penderock.
Yeah. Okay. And y'all got that for the family. If y'all are on Facebook, just look up Penderock. Is it all caps or does it matter how you put it in there when you search?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
And you have to be approved, but myself and my cousins are the ones that approve. And if I recognize your surname, or if I see that you're already friends with a bunch of people already in the group, then I go, okay, let you in.
Okay, they're good. Okay. So y'all check that. Make sure y'all go on there. Facebook, a lot of y'all on Facebook. If y'all not in the group, make sure to join because, hey, it's good to know about your family. Oh, that's nice. Next one. Do you accept donations? How can we support your work?
Thank you.
I'm going to leave that one up, actually.
You can make donations to the Penderock Treasury.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can save your coins for a bit because I'm starting an internship at my undergraduate school, Old Dominion University, Go Monarchs.
Okay.
So we're going to have 2 history interns doing work for our family. and I'm going to trial it for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And after that trial is successful, and I believe it's going to be, then we want to put big money into it. We want to endow it.
Okay. Wow. It's like you big things, projects. Sound like you got some things going on, sir. Wow. Let me see. Let's see if there's any more questions. I do have a question. So, what is the significance of location? We already talked about it. Talked about the events. Okay, here we go. And I know this is a group of people, so I'll just say it like this. Why do you feel as if why people just don't want to know about the history? You ask them and they be like, do you know your family? I don't matter. I'm not going to talk to them anyhow. So I guess my question is, why do you feel like some people just don't want to go down that road?
I think people can have generational trauma. I think there's a certain amount of generational trauma we have as African descended people in the United States, right? Which is probably why we're all on blood pressure medication. And even within that, families can have generational trauma. So I know a lot of families where people are like, I don't want to know because their grandparents didn't get along. My grandma didn't get along with her siblings. My granddad didn't get along with his siblings. So all they know is they don't think, oh, family, here come rolls and ham and greens. They go, oh, Lord, here come family. It's going to be a hot mess.
Yeah.
Right? So that's some people's lived experience, and you can't blame them for that or feel any kind of way about it. That's the experience that they have felt. Now, who I do love to beat up on is the millennials. And I'm teasing, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm a little worried that there seems to be a trend that people of color are falling into, which is, I've got friends, I've got people I game with, I've got people I hang out with, I've got people that I hang out on the internet with. And so that satisfies my need for human touch and human interaction. Mm-hmm. And if I thought they could carry that out till their last breath, I would be less worried. But the world I know, family will be there when nobody else is there. Not every family member.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more likely that when the rubber meets the road, that blood is thicker than water, that a family member will be there. And I would hate to see a whole generation of us not have strong family ties while the world is changing not in our favor, and we find ourselves adrift.
Wow. That's powerful. Can you say that last part one more time?
I would hate to see a whole generation of us while the world is changing not in our favor. And that's why it's important that, imagine somebody standing not able to spit back at the world. Oh, no, this is my country. I built it. I pay more taxes than anybody else. I have a right to this. This is mine. If you don't know to say that,
mm-hmm.
and forces are telling you that you're not important, that you're not of value, that you're not a true American, that this belongs to someone else and you're there by their grace, I don't want to see somebody in that situation. And the world is buffeting them, and they don't even have family to hold on to. The people that they gamed with, the people that they tweeted with and on social media with,
mm-hmm.
aren't there. But like I said before, I connected these people with their families. My DC cousins, I didn't know them, they didn't know me, they didn't know how they were Jacobs, but a month later they drove all the way to Eastern Shore to support me because they were like, oh, we're blood. I might have just found that out last month, but we're blood.
Right. Wow. That's how it is. And it's interesting you say, because like I said, that's real, because like a lot of those, like pretty much as you said, the millennials, they think that's their family, because they got interests or something. But like you said, at the end of the day, those people might they might have a fallout. They don't have nobody to turn to, and family, even like you said, even if they just met them, they can talk and be like, oh, okay, and they can have common interests and know that they never know that family member they just met might be that one they might have to cry on, might have to hug, or it might listen. I need come to your church or something, Yep. Shout out to Sylvania. Donzel, what's up? That's
There she is.
There she go. There she go. She jumped on. Thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, like you were saying,
they talked about an educator. It should have been here earlier.
That's it. It's okay. Hey, everybody's coming in. She finds the thing. So yeah, but we was talking about education, Missy. Like you just play it back, but yeah, we was talking about how a lot of family founded Fayetteville State. Ring a bell? I'm sure it do. She know. She probably smiling from ear to ear. So, but that's cool. That's cool. We are millennials. Oh, you know what? We are the millennials. I guess I need to Google it. I was like, who's a millennial? The age. Yeah. Well, with the exception of me and her and some other people we know, yeah, they need family because the internet is a family, like you said, and it's been set up that way where they don't need anybody, and that's not right. You know what I'm saying? That's going to a whole nother topic, but like you said, that's honest and that's true. Let me see. I'm looking. All right, kind of bouncing around looking at the time. So we talked about it earlier, and you actually brought it up again. But for those who might just be tuning in, right? I think we were saying in the beginning, family members would like to know who family members are, just to be honest with you, because some of them don't want to end up getting to the altar and realize, wait a minute, I'm related to you. And then you said back then also that, well, you can elaborate more, but you were saying some of them married because that's all they had. So I guess my question is to add to that, what made people or choose to marry within the family?
Good question. So the genealogy, the word that genealogists use is endogamy.
Okay.
endogamy.
Mm-hmm.
And that means when families continually marry into each other again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Our families did it for lots of reasons. One is that we were free people of color. So if you had your child with an enslaved individual, if you were a man and you had an enslaved wife, then you were creating property that literally belonged to somebody else and could be sold.
Mm.
If you were a woman and you had an enslaved husband, then by definition your husband could do nothing for you. Nothing. That his master didn't allow him.
Mm.
So there was a big barrier there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some free people of color took native spouses, not as many as we think.
I'm glad you brought that up. We'll talk about that in a minute, but go ahead.
Some took white spouses, but mostly we married each other again and again and again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was also the same limitation. We had the same limitations that everybody else had. Think about it. We landed in the Piney Woods area in 1752.
Mm-hmm.
It was woods.
Right.
All those people were in those woods, and you know what they had? Feet.
Yeah.
Sperm does not travel. It cannot be mailed out, right? It was on the hoof.
Yeah.
So you made it as far as your feet could take you.
Yeah. That's
everybody. Mm-hmm. So many of the white families are also endogamous. For the very same reason, they were on the foot.
Mm-hmm.
And families that had money wanted to keep that money in.
Okay.
Eastern Shore, everybody's inbred. Because what I tell you, it's only 10 miles wide. That little peninsula is only 10 miles wide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tiny sliver of land, and all those people have just married each other since they got there in the 1600s. Black, white, Indian, all of them. They're just all intertwined.
Wow. They just kept it going. So, all right. That's deep. That's deep. So, And I've been well, I'll just say it this way. I've been told, or I see documentaries, or I would see where they were saying when situations like that happen, they were saying when they have a kid that something is going on with the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like they were saying they got some kind of deficiency, or they got something, something else going on. So can you elaborate on that? Is that true, or is say what? Hey, hold on. What'd you say? Say it again.
I said I'm a witness. It's not.
Okay.
I mean, the royal families of Europe are great examples of that.
Mm-hmm.
All the royal families are connected because they wanted to keep power within the upper strata, right? And kings and queens would have children, and then they would make political alliances. I'm going to marry this child to the king, to the Germans. I'm going to marry this child to the Russians. I'm going to marry this child to the Spanish. So all those people are all interrelated. Mm-hmm. And to your point, I think the previous regime in Spain actually was intermarried so much that they were physically unable to produce a child. They literally inbred to the point that they were deficient, and they literally had to go get a cousin from another country and say, "Hey, can you come over here and be king? Because we can't."
Wow. That's deep. Like, and I guess with the body, you never really know when it stops. You just know when it stops. Oh, okay. So they just go somewhere.
Well, they had physical signs. I mean, it was apparent that they were going down a rat hole, and they still kept inbreeding.
Man, that's interesting, because like, it's just when you hear stuff about this, people like, I mean, you see it in movies, that ain't gonna be me, and then they find out it's them. So it's just, that's why I was just wondering, because it's just like, this is why genealogy is important. So what if somebody comes to a situation, I'm getting the question, they come off the top of my head now. What if I get a situation where somebody was in a situation where it's like, I think we might, let me say it this way. So they liked each other. No, this is actually a true one. I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to leave the names out for sake, but I think there were a few people I know who I guess they had a liking to each other, but then when they found out they was related, they pulled back. And I think somewhere, or at least they thought they was, but then I guess when they went and did another, search or something, they found out they wasn't related, and they ended up getting married. So I guess my question is, with something like that, I would think that one time it could be enough for them to say, oh, but I guess what made people like go back for a second time? Because I was thinking when you do DNA that the percentage is pretty somewhat accurate. So I guess my question is, what I guess with a situation like that, I guess, what do you think? Like when it comes to something like that, somebody, you tell them, oh, y'all might be related, and you're like, oh man, I see the family tree, and you're like, oh, okay, but then you're like, you know what? Let's do it again. Oh, we're not related. Let's get married.
Well, I think it has to do, one, with how you were raised, what the culture was in your community and your household, and then how you personally feel about it.
That's true.
Right. It was the norm in North Carolina, in Eastern Shore too, for first cousins to marry. Oh. It happened all the time. Nobody blinked an eye. Which is kind of cool, right? Because you think there's always the argument, like a couple gets married, it's like, are we going to your grandma's house for Thanksgiving, or are we going to my grandma's house for Thanksgiving? But then it's like, we're going to grandma's house. But by the time it came down to you and I, like my first cousins, I can't imagine it. It doesn't fit in my head. Yeah. Right? But several generations ago, it fit in their head because everybody was doing it. That's where their society was. Right? So things can change. So that's what I mean when I say it has to do with where your community is and where your family is, your parents, and then your own personal thing. Yeah. I've had people tell me, oh, I might say y'all got the same great grandparents. They're like, "Ooh, I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, "Yeah."
He said, "Yeah."
Fourth cousins, yeah. but if that's not your thing, if that makes your skin crawl, then that's true for you.
Okay. Yeah, because that's something I've interested. I knew a person, a friend years and years ago. She said it happened to her, not that to their grand, but she said she'd been hanging around this person, like, she got to liking them, and then one day, sometimes all it takes is a conversation, and I got to talking. They was like, "Your family from where?" "Oh yeah, cousins." "Nah, we good." Needs to say they kind of separate. It just look awkward after that, but it's with stuff like that, it's just interesting. So.
Well, I will say that my mother says that she left Putnam County, North Carolina, and went to live with her Aunt Lily in Portsmouth because she said if I stay here, I'm gonna marry cousins, so I got to get up out of here.
Oh. Well, that's a reason. So she's like, time to go. So interesting, very interesting. So now I'm gonna change it up just a little bit. Let's talk about land. Meaning,
land?
Yep. Okay. Meaning,
pay your taxes, people.
There you go. So, I got a couple of questions. I'm gonna try to make this make sense. So when it comes to land, hold on. Let me pause let me back up. Let me see. Oh, I'm gonna back up to what you said. Let me see what Sylvania said. Let's see. She said it happens all the time. We get back to the family question. Think about people living on islands before mass travel began. People living, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, where they have to go, there was no cars back then, like the type of cars we got now. So they just kind of was on their own island. So, good comment. So let's talk about land. This is I'm just gonna say it this way. I watched the movie. Side note, YouTube. I'm not promoting no movie. Silver Dollar Road. Y'all should go watch it. So anyway, land. When it comes to land, right? When it comes to family members and land, okay. Why is it that some people, and I'm asking this because some people might not know, why is it that some of the family members that have land don't know that they have land?
Because I think our community does less than stellar job of holding on to our land. And the thing that I love about our people, when the Jacobs got here in 1752.
Mm-hmm.
We started getting land in 1759.
Oh, they started out. They started rolling. They hit the ground running.
Up that land, which and this is why we really have to claim all of America, the good parts and the bad parts. Just like the English, we were taking that land from the Indian people. Mm-hmm. So we got to be careful when we talk about how Indian we are. We're Indian. Okay, but you were doing the same thing that the English were doing. You were telling the king, if you give me these 600 acres, I'll pay you taxes on it.
Right.
That's what land patents were, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my free people were getting land in the 1750s.
Mm-hmm.
On my daddy's side, I have an original handwritten deed where my great-great-grandmother was buying land in 1877. He'd only been free for 13 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have land that my great-great-grandfather first bought in 1880. I have it now.
Mm.
Right? But as a people, we don't understand generational wealth, and so our grandparents and our great-grandparents, everybody says, I'm going to leave my land to my children. Mm-hmm. Share alike. We had 10 kids.
Mm.
And then they had 10 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had 6 kids. And now you got, 50, 60, 70, 80 people to own this land?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay the taxes? Who's going to live on it? Nobody can sell it because you got to get all those signatures.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's how we lose the land. And so people who are used to generational wealth, people that don't look like us, they know how to handle that better, right? They won't leave it equally. They won't leave one piece of land equally to 10 kids. They'll split the land up and do it that way, or they'll sell the land and give them all the money, or they'll leave the land to one kid and leave something else to the other 9. We've got to figure out how to do that better. But we have a lot of land in our personal family that's stuck right now. Nothing can be done with it because so doggone many people own a little teeny piece of it. And you got to get all their signatures if you go do anything. We've got to figure out how to fix that.
Wow. That's tough. So, has there ever been a situation where they had a large amount of people who own like a real small land, they was actually able to come together and work that out? Or has it ever been like, it's my land, I'm not going through it? Yeah.
It depends on the family. Like my great, I'm talking about North Carolina people. My great grandparents' land, we ended up splitting, and my Uncle Sam Jacobs, so there were 8 of them. And so when Granddaddy died, it was the land that Grandma and Granddaddy accumulated, and it was the land that Grandma's family had accumulated that she owned. So all these little pieces, all around Crossroads in the same neighborhood, right? And Uncle Sam, because he was an engineer and a logical thinker like me, or I'm like him rather, he said, we got to split this up. We're peas apart. We get along great. We love each other, but it doesn't make any sense for 8 people to own these separate pieces of land. We got to figure out a way to do this, or else we're giving a problem to our children.
Yeah.
And so he pushed, and that's what they did. So I've seen families do that successfully. The land that I own now went from my great grandfather to my great grandmother to my great uncle, because my great uncle got a piece when my great grandmother split it up. He gave it to he didn't have any children, so he gave his piece to my daddy as the oldest grandchild. And then when my father and my mother passed, my brother said, I'm not interested. And then when I realized we had it since 1880, I said, I'll just buy it from him.
Wow.
So that was a success, right? Because it went dot, was split. And then the last piece, I said, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So we can do this successfully. Those are models that we need to follow. But I know too many family groupings where, because think about it, it's not just all the kids and all the grandkids, it's the in-laws. It's anybody that's not been, it's the family that's been separated for years. She left him and went to New York. We don't even know where she is. You got to get her signature too.
Wow. Yeah.
We've got to do this better because we're losing our land. Because what happens is then somebody gets annoyed, stops paying the taxes for all the rest of these cousins. I don't even know who they are. And then next thing you know, it's auctioned. And if you aren't at that auction, then it goes to somebody else.
And when you say somebody else, what are you referring to?
What I mean.
Okay. I just want to make sure because it's funny. It's interesting. I'm see how it worked. It was actually my next questions. I was gonna ask you, and they're just coming from here and here. And I was gonna say, do you think it's right that land? Well, I was gonna say, what happened to the land that is never claimed? You just answered it. You said it goes off the auction. And how long can land stay unclaimed?
Well, it's not really. It's not that it's not claimed. It's that nobody pays taxes on it.
Ah, there you go.
So
okay.
When the tax gets in arrears, the county will sell it for taxes. Okay. That's how the land is lost.
Wow. So, I'm gonna ask it this way: has there been? Well, let me see. What if there was a situation where the land was unclaimed? Well, let me say it, the taxes wasn't paid on it, right? And it went to auction, and the other people got it, but then right when they got it, a group of people who didn't even know, even though they find out, okay, they got land, but they didn't know about the taxes, all that stuff, but they knew they had land out there, finds out that the other person got it. What can they, is there any way to possibly, thank you, I was gonna say, is there any way to get it back? And
because it's all about the Benjamins. The county says your taxes were $100 a year. You were in arrears for 5 years. I lost it. I'm making stuff up, make up numbers. but it's the same structure, right? Your taxes were $100 a year. The law is if you are 5 years in arrears, we sell your land. You were 5 years, you owed us $500. We auction it off. This dude paid $700. We got our $500 back, and I don't know what happened to the $200. But that's kind of the way it works, right? And it's over. The show is over because the county would have done that according to the law. So you can't come in and say, I didn't know. They're like, well, sorry, you should have known.
Yeah. Wow. That's it. Like you said, that's wealth. You know, I know people talk about like
black people need to write wills. Y'all who listen to me, 90% of y'all do not have a will. That is the issue here. If you have a will and you say my land goes to so and so or my land does this, then we don't have this problem. But what happens is we tend to say, and my parents too, it's a generational thing too, right? And it's an education thing. You know, I remember, my mother would say, I got 3 sons, y'all split it up. You know, and we did, right? Because there's only 3 of us, so it was easier.
Yeah.
But we really need to have wills. We need to think about generational wealth and putting our assets where we want them and placing it in a way that they actually stay. But when we leave it, but land is notorious. And you know what else is notorious? Land and slaves. That's how families got split up.
Yep. Wow.
Right? We were owned by John Custis. Right? That's who owned Gabriel Jacobs. He was called King Custis on Eastern Shore. He was rich. And his family is a family that married into George Washington's family. Right? Who was also rich. Both of them thought that they were great, benevolent slaveholders because they were so rich they didn't have to sell people. You know, they just, you're always going to be my people. But I traced these people. Just like land, enslaved people are even worse because they're increasing. You can't, yes, you were so nice to everybody and as you were working them and not paying them. But when you close your eyes, you got an enslaved family of 5 and you got 10 kids. And they get split up. And it goes generation by generation by generation. So that's what happened to our ancestors in slavery. The same thing happens with land. You got to figure out how to split your stuff up or give it to one person. But if you just let it be owned by a goo gobs of people, you're going to lose it. We need to do will.
Y'all heard that? He didn't just say do the will. He gave a percentage. You said 90%?
My people do not have wills. Trust me. I know y'all mad at me right now because I'm saying
sorry. Hey, he say, hey, tell the truth, shame the devil. Tell the truth. But yeah, man, back up. You said the family was connected to George Washington. Did I hear you correctly? You mean the same one that dun 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 dun? Same one?
That's why it was so important that we fought in the Revolutionary War. See, John Custis II enslaved Gabriel Jacobs, and he freed him in his will.
Oh, okay.
He wrote his will in 1696. He said that Gabriel Jacobs was to be free after working 4 more years on the ship. You should know this. You voiced our story.
Yeah, I was gonna get there.
But John Custis, his grandson was John Custis IV. John Custis IV's son was Daniel Park Custis. Daniel Park Custis married Martha Dandridge and had Custis children. But then he died, and she married George Washington. That's how George Washington was in charge of the Custis slaves. Right? So they were Custis slaves in the Mount Vernon plantation right here near me now. So, so the Custis, who also was related to the Custis, is Robert E. Lee.
General.
Because the grandson, George Washington Park Custis, married, I'm going to get it mixed up. His daughter married Robert E. Lee. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Wow.
So that's why it's important to me to trace all these enslaved people and try to tie those families back together. Because some of those might be blood from Gabriel's daughter, Jenny Jacobs, that remained enslaved. She could have been enslaved in that whole Custis, Washington, Lee lineage.
Yeah. Wow. like you said, this is why it's important to connect the dots with your family, because you might be surprised who you're related to, and so much.
So one more thing,
yeah.
About George Washington and a Revolutionary War, which I'm going to talk about next week. So George Washington was at Valley Forge, right, commanding the troops.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were the North Carolina troops, which was Free Jacobs. But he was writing letters while he was doing that to his ne'er-do-well grandson, Jackie Custis, telling him not to sell Arlington Plantation on Eastern Shore, which contained the enslaved Jacobs.
Oh, wow.
So think about that. He's commanding the Free Jacobs. He doesn't know that. But he is. He's commanding the Free Jacobs, but he's writing his grandson Custis saying, don't sell Arlington, because the kid was like a ne'er-do-well. He wanted to sell everything and get all the money. Saying don't sell that, but selling that included the enslaved Jacobs.
Wow. That would have had a whole different type of turn of events if that would have happened, right?
Well, we were in both places. Yeah. Jacobs were in both places. Again, we as people of color, I think, tend to be told that we weren't there in history. History happened and we were just like hanging around in the back waiting for somebody to give us something. And that is not true. We were making history.
Wow. Making history. See? That's the truth. Somebody said, oh, listen, you got people backing you up. Absolutely. It needs to be said. So what you were saying, yeah, all this stuff needs to be said. Reminds me of, sorry, that's awesome. Yeah. Like a lot of this stuff, like I said, again, I feel like all this stuff you're saying, and of course, I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to talk about that listen, I want to say a thank you. Like, he gave me an opportunity to do a voiceover on the website. We'll talk about it. He called me out. I was like, wait a minute. That's how he said, you better know you did a voiceover for the website, sir. I was like, I did. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, this is why, y'all, it's important to know your family, you know, to know where they come from. And even we still going to talk about the land, and to even know about the land, you should go and see if you have land. Now, another question. How can you find out, or how can people, like, what are their resources if they want to find out if they have land or not?
First, you should ask your elders. Okay. Your parents, you know, did grandma leave any land? Did granddaddy have any land? And I know in Pender County, and also in Dinwiddie County, where my dad is from, you can go to the Register of Deeds. It's a Register of Deeds. I think it's the Register of Deeds. But you can go online and see all the landowners.
Wow. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, wow. So, okay. Here we go. You was talking about the millennials earlier. Well, now it's me. But the millennials and even after that, do you feel, and I'm saying this because I actually watched the movie, and I'm not going to give it away, but it was actually surprising, the Silver Dollar Road. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, one of the things in that movie, or another one, like I said, again, I'm not promoting. I ain't trying to get no strike, because, you know, they like giving out strikes on YouTube if you don't be careful. But one thing I know is that the younger generation, I'm not going to give too much away because I want you to see it and everybody to see it. But one thing is, he actually was involved and actually wanted to get information about his family. He knew about his family and the land. My question is to you, based on how you said things are going in terms of, you know, the world, millennials and generation after that, do you feel like a lot of them would be even concerned about getting land or even thinking about it when they get a certain age?
This is where I go 180. Yeah, I love to be among millennials because it's so much fun.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
But this is where I flip 180, and I really have such sympathy and for you, and empathy and fear for you. I don't know how to answer that question, because my generation has so screwed up the housing market that I don't know how millennials are going to be attached to house or land, because it increasingly looks so unattainable to you because we messed it up.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, trickle down.
I mean, when I grew up, you know, I saw my parents bought a house, you know, and so, okay, I knew I was going to grow up, I was going to work, I was getting a down payment, I was going to get a house, and da-da-da-da. Now the way houses cost, I live in D.C. I'm surrounded by, you know, young people in their 20s and 30s with great D.C. jobs living 3 and 4 to a house because they can't afford to live any other way. So I don't know how to answer that question based on, what we've done to the housing market and the land market. I don't know how millennials can be attached to my land because it doesn't look like they have the economic power to get in it.
Wow. That's deep. So, to bring that out, so you say like to beat up on them, what are if you can give some advice to them for those who might actually be listening, like, oh, okay, you know what? He got my attention. What would you tell them? Like, what would be some advice you would tell them to like get to that point of trying to, actually look, go for the land and stuff like that?
Well, the other place that you can look for land is, again, familysearch.org, free. You can do a catalog search, and most of the counties have their deeds online, the older deeds.
Yeah.
Right, and so you can look and see if your grandparents, you can look on the index to see if your grandparents had land. So okay. I want to say that. And I forgot my point.
Oh, I'm sure the. Okay.
What was your question?
Yeah, I was saying my question was like with somebody, because I know you saying a lot of them, they're not really because of what happened, trickle on down a generation with the housing and how it got treated. I said, what advice would you give them for those who actually, or research or advice you would tell them about in terms of trying to get the land?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's in terms of the land. But the other advice I would give millennials, because I know I overwhelm people because I'm a lot. Yeah. I got a lot. Genealogy is a hobby. Knitting is a hobby.
Okay.
I'm not trying to knit every sweater I wear. That's a hobby. People that love doing that should do that. Likewise, I don't expect people to research the same way I research, to love history the way I love history. It's a hobby. You don't have to have my hobby. So let's be clear on that. However, I do think it's important for everybody, particularly people of color, particularly young people of color, to know enough of your history that you know how much of an American you are and how valuable you are to this country and your people have been to this country. My advice is that much. If you want to invest in the hobby of genealogy and go down that rat hole, have at it. I'm there. I love it. But just like I'm not trying to knit a sweater, I don't expect you to do all of that. Yeah. But for your own survival and success, I'm imploring you to understand enough of your history to understand how much an American you are.
Cool. Good answer. I appreciate it. So, well, that's look, I'll take note. Listen, that, because like I said, what they say, land is wealth. I mean, people can buy the house and might not even have the land, but land is, they say that's where it's at, right? Absolutely. Let me see. Oh, thank y'all. Let me see. Anybody tuning in, shout out. I'm going to give a quick shout out. Shout out everyone that's watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, chat. And at the end, I'm going to have him share the information. Y'all want to know more about him, we're going to get there. Let's see what else. Let's see. I got a question. You ever had a situation? Okay, I'm just kind of asking different questions. Has there ever been a situation where one family member has forced another family member off their land? Like, let me rephrase it this way. So the family member had land and another family member was like, get off, I'm taking over. You ever had a situation like that?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Yeah. I watched something and there was a situation where, but this was pertaining to, because they were fighting over the land or something, and one managed to get the paperwork and was able to get them off, and they was like, no, this is my land. So now they're fighting because one family member been on that land, knew it, but however, the other one managed to find a way where they own it and they kick the family member off. So I'm like, that's sad to me. I'm like, I guess that's another situation with like where families, should be able to kind of come together, you know what I'm saying, or work something out, but it doesn't always work that way.
But the thing I would say to that too is you need to be sure you have a clear title on whatever it is that you're occupying, the land, the house, the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know instances where people are living on land or living on houses that's owned by a whole bunch of family members.
Mm.
And you're always at that risk.
Mm.
And it's not just us people of color. It's not just us Carolinians and country people. I was just reading today. I subscribe to the Old House Journal because when I'm not being a nerdy genealogist, I'm a nerdy old house owner. And this guy, I want to say it's up north. I want to say it's Massachusetts or Connecticut or somewhere. But it was this lengthy article. This dude has this humongous house. This house is so big. He has a pipe organ in his house. That's how big this house is.
Wow.
But he's talking about the fact that the first house he renovated, he lived in for 12 years, renovating the house, this old Victorian house.
Mm-hmm.
He had an agreement with the woman that owned the house that when she died, he would get the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he put all his work, all his time, all his energy in it for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he said when she died, his children said, you can buy it for $1 more than the highest bidder.
Oh, wow.
So all his 12 years of work and money, he lost.
Mm.
So the article was showing his second house. But he was saying, this wasn't my first love. My first love was this house I lost. But I thought, you lived in the house for 12 years with just a verbal agreement?
Mm.
You put probably $1 million in it, I'm thinking, with a verbal agreement. So when we country people live on a piece of land that's owned by 12 cousins, we're at risk.
Yeah.
Just like this dude was with lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good idea either place.
Yeah. Wow. That's why you gotta make sure you clear understanding who land it is. So cool. All right, let's see. Let's talk about reunions. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real simple. So why? And this might be kind of a repeat to some other answers. We're gonna ask straight up. Why do you feel like reunions are important?
I think they reconnect some people and they connect the kids.
Okay.
When I was growing up, my parents we went to funerals.
Oh.
Like, I don't remember a time that I did not know that people died.
Oh, wow.
And had to go in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were going to be sad and we were going to cry and then we were going to live afterwards. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you also met people at funerals. And there was a sense of duty and a sense of responsibility and a sense that this isn't going to be fun, but it's something we do as a family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying a family reunion is a funeral, but I'm saying the terms of you meet people, you show your kids that family is important.
Mm-hmm.
They get to understand community. That.
Wow, that's good. So, what do you tell the people that say that's not important? I don't need to go to no family reunion. Why should I go meet my family? You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people out there who just like, I don't need to go. Why should I go? And your answer, but my question is, why do you feel like people sometimes feel like there's no point in going to a family reunion?
Again, I think some people just have personal experience or family trauma, generational experience that makes them shy away from a lot of family. Their experience is that's not a good time. That's high drama.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now, I'm gonna ask it this way. So, do you feel like, well, I'll say how important, or do you feel how important is location when it comes to family reunions? Because I know every year, you know, yeah, I just felt that because I was like, let me ask this. I'm trying to make some, yeah. How important is it? Because I know every year it's like, oh, okay, we're going to have it here. Or every year we're going to have it here. So to you, like, how important is it, you know, for the location?
So planning a family reunion is one of the most difficult things you can do in
life. Yeah. Yeah.
And I really want to give this up. Location is important to everybody, but from different angles. Like some people will say, our family reunion should be in North Carolina because that's where we're from. You know, I want to go back to North Carolina. That's where I was born and raised. I've lived in this city for years. But when I think reunion, I think going back to North Carolina. That's what I want. My vote is just always going to be in North Carolina. I hear other people that say, I'm from the Bronx. You know, I've seen enough of North Carolina. I don't mind going down there every other time, but one, this is my vacation money and my vacation leave, and I ain't trying to spend all my vacation down there every single time. So it's a lot to weigh.
Yeah.
Both of those are valid points, right? And you've got to weigh that over the years.
Wow. That's funny. Let's see. So, let me see. How important was... Sorry, let me see. We got the family reunion. Got a lot of questions here. I'm trying to see how important we talked about it. Recommendation. How important location. Oh, here's a good one. So, how should they be planned? That's kind of broad, but I'm trying to explain it. So when somebody, all right, if somebody wants to, here we go. Thank you, Lord. So if somebody wants to start planning a family reunion, right? They family, they don't. Either one of the sides don't, you know, they're not doing a family reunion, probably something they never done, or somebody was doing a break, they was doing it and they just quit. So somebody was like, you know what, I'm just going to take the torch and I'm going to start planning family reunions. What would you tell them? Like, where do you think they should start when it go in terms of planning family reunions?
Like, what should the events be?
Yeah, so for example, because we talked about location, like, you know, if they're trying to get it together, like, yeah, what type of events, or I guess with each day, because I know each day, you know, you got events. You know, first day is normally, you know, a meet and greet, and I don't think too much happens, and then the next day. So yeah, events and just setting it up to make sure everybody know, you know, stuff like that.
Well, you know, the first thing if somebody told me they would want to have a first reunion for their family, I would ask them to think about what their family's appetite is for a reunion.
Okay.
We had one very successful reunion for my father's side of the family. Yeah, there was 10 of them, and they all lived right there in Portsmouth.
Okay.
I had 27 first cousins on my daddy's side, and they just did not have the need to see each other that often. They didn't dislike each other. They didn't fuss and fight. They just weren't the visiting type. And we did not have a reunion. I went to Philly to one of my North Carolina cousins' reunion, and I liked the way they did it. It was a family of 10. And the way they did their reunion, they always met, and I think they still do it, on their grandmother's birthday in the same park.
Nice.
And each of the 10 family groups brought their own food.
Okay.
So it was like, it wasn't a lot of, you didn't have to pre-plan, you didn't have to send your money here or send your money there or get your money in by this time. It was like each family group brought their own food. You knew where the location was, you knew what the date was, you came and brought your own food. The first time I went there, like one family came real early with this great big cook, and they cooked all their food there. Some families tipped in late with you know, Pyrex dishes that they have. Everybody did what worked for them. And then once they were there, of course, because they was family, they shared their food.
Yeah.
And I thought, my Goodwyns could do this because there's no planning required. No upfront money required. And we did it, and it was a success.
Wow.
So, it doesn't. So I put that out there because I was going to say the standard reunion is, hospitality night on Friday and something to do in the city during Saturday, and then the banquet on Saturday night, and then church on Sunday. That's sort of a template that many families do. But if you're a family like my Goodwyn, they would have hated that. They wouldn't have come. And they would have hated having to send money in early and on time. For them, that when I said everybody show up at the bar on this day and bring your own food, they were like, I'm there. It was a great day.
Bring your own food.
Bring your own food. So you didn't have to, that way nobody had to plan. Because they're not planners. Like, if they had tried to look like a real reunion, they would have bowed out.
Yeah.
But when it was you bring, each uncle, right? So there's 10 of them. So each of those family groupings, so nobody, bought their own food. So my daddy was gone at that time. So it was my mother and her three sons. Together, we brought our food. And each of the 10 groupings did the same thing. And then we shared.
Wow. That seems so much simpler. I think we should do that. Wow. And that was everybody that was pretty much in the same area, right? They didn't like these people that, okay. That's cool. So I had another question about that. All right. So family also with that. So how many family reunions do you think they should plan or should be per year?
Oh Lord.
I know it's. I know some people do one. That's it. Some people might do two, and then you got one, and then they family do one. So.
I mean, I can't imagine planning more than one family. We do. Rock does every other year because it was killing me.
Okay. I can only imagine. Yeah.
But we have Walkatown is every year. There's other family really reunions, get-togethers that you can go to if you want to. There's Tony used to have one in New Jersey, but now he moved to Florida. He's trying to get us to go down there and hang out with DeSantis. So there's other things that you can go to get your family fix.
Okay. Appreciate it. And if y'all got any questions? Because, man, we done bust 2 hours, sir. We 2:02. If y'all got any questions, bring them in. I don't know if anybody got any questions they want to ask. I've been asking a lot. The last portion of this live, y'all got any questions, make sure to ask them. We here with historian or genealogist cousin Tyrone Goodwyn. If y'all got any questions, y'all not, y'all family, I want to ask about the family reunion, you're more than welcome. Some who may be coming in just know about family and might not be related. You've got some questions about family, let them know. I mean, sure he can answer it. So, but yeah, fun question while we're waiting on questions. All right. What is your favorite food at a family reunion?
It's hard for me because I seldom get to eat because y'all are pulling on me.
Hey, listen, hold on. Let me say this. Y'all need to stop pulling on him. He needs to eat. Look, he wants to eat too. He wants to enjoy food like y'all. Listen, he wants to be able to enjoy some good cooking. So listen, if you get a chance and you get food, don't pull on him. Just let him eat. But
Missy has a good question.
Yeah. I was looking at that. Let me see. Let's see. Here you go. Oh, that one just popped up. I found my maiden name. Oh, shout out to the wife. She said she just found out her grandmother's maiden name with a quick search. Thanks to cousin Tyrone.
On the family search.
Yep. And let's see what she said. He says, has Tyrone considered forming a family historical committee? Maybe that would lighten the load.
Yeah, I would. In a way, I do. I have a cohort. There's 4 of us. There's me. There's Luke Alexander, who's down there in Columbus County. He's from Philly, but he's down in Columbus County now. There's Andre that lives here in D.C. with me. And then there's Lisa, who used to live in this area with me, but now she just moved out home to Indiana. So the 4 of us are in a chat group. We work together every day. We literally chat every day in the Facebook DM group. So that's my my crew. And we're all interrelated, DNA related. Luke and I, even more so, because Luke and I share Jacob's ancestors, and we have the same mitochondrial DNA. So Luke is actually, and he's the one that I present with when I do stuff, right? So that's kind of my committee. But I'm guessing your point is a little more than that, Missy. What I would love is people younger than me who are interested. Well, I back up. I got one young brother here in Baltimore. He's a Mainer, and he's 34. So I work with him on the Mainer stuff. Like, I'm helping him get more Mainer stuff together so he can bring it to the reunion. Because I don't want to come in with this much Fender Rock stuff, and they have this much Mainer stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm already helping him and getting him to get more stuff to bring to the table. So I guess I am getting a historical committee, but I would like more, to your question, and more younger people.
Wow. There you go. Yeah. Like you said, we'll, keep the history going, right? Generation to generation. Make sure we leave something behind. Let's see, Donzel.
Like for example.
Yeah.
With all this history we have and everybody that we are, there is no reason in the world that our kids aren't blowing up these high school book reports that they have to write.
Wow.
Why are they writing about people not named us?
That's a really good question.
They should be beating my door down saying, tell me something fantastic that I don't even like this teacher. I want to blow her out the door. Give me something.
Oh, man. Like, give me something good. Yeah. Right. That's funny. Let's see. Back to the question about the food. Donzel said, he said chicken is the go-to for him. He said that's his good old chicken. Let's see. Back to Savannah. She said also, sorry. Yep. Also may encourage the younger generation to continue. There you go. All in a nutshell right there. Like,
that's right.
Yeah. Like we were saying, it's just, I feel like, well, now that I learned more, I kind of changed my answer a little bit. I felt like one time, and it's still, I guess, with certain families, not ours per se, but just different people as a whole, I feel like a lot of history, this happens, it gets real small. Like, a lot of them don't really know the history, and they don't have nobody to tell them, some of them just don't care. And I feel like you said, it could be family trauma, or they just don't think it's important. So I have a question. It's kind of not more so that, but we was talking about the Native Americans and Indians and stuff like that, and I should have asked this by now. Why do some people, I'm just gonna say it that way, their first thing they say when you talking to them, you know what I'm about to say, they say they're Cherokee. Can you explain it? Why do a lot of people feel like, I was going to say person of color, but it could be anybody. Why do a lot of people feel like they're Cherokee and they might not be, but they just say that they're Cherokee?
In my opinion, America, not just Black Americans, but white Americans too. Think Elizabeth Warren. I think we fetishize Native Americans. I think we all want to say that our grandmother was Indian and sat on her hair and had high cheekbones. And women had much more to do than sitting on their hair. Their heads was wrapped up. They were boiling clothes in the backyard. Because that's how you had their plan.
Yeah.
And I think we, Black people and white people, need to think about that. I mean, we very glibly say, my ancestor looked Indian, in a way that we don't say, my ancestor looked Angolan. Now, we don't assume that there's an Angolan look, or a Nigerian look, or a Ghanaian look. People don't say, my ancestor looked Welsh. Oh, you could tell they were Irish. They looked Irish. Why do we feel like we got the bead on Indian folks? It's all in the cheekbones.
Yeah.
We need to think about that as a country.
Yeah.
specific to Cherokee, they were in the western part of the state minding their own business, still are. They were not in the eastern part of the state. But I think because they're the tribe in North Carolina that kept their name and their land, they became the generic name, like Kleenex and Xerox. They came kind of the generic name for Indian.
Oh, okay.
And that's my opinion.
Okay. And to like add on to that, let me say this way, because there are some people a lot of people that are Cherokee, and I guess I put on that because, of course, we have Cherokee in the family, and my family, wife Cherokee, and because some people, they might not even be Cherokee. They might be Lumbee or Blackfoot, right?
Blackfoot's in South Dakota, so it's a stretch for us to be Blackfoot.
Yeah, that's where I was going, because I was like, oh, let me make sure I word it right, because, trying to make sure it's right. But yeah, so with the Lumbees, because I found out.
Do not get me kicked off of YouTube, please.
Oh, no, sir. I won't get you kicked off YouTube, I promise you. That's it for the question. But I was going to say that, I'm going to leave that question for later. But yeah, I found out that, there are some people who are a mixture of both, Lumbee and Cherokee. So I guess my thing is, if people want to find out, like, if they had, of course, the history, what I'm probably gonna say, the search, what would be some other ways other than search, talk to family, like what would be some ways for them to actually find out about that side, the Native American?
I had baggage around this.
Oh, okay. That's why you would say okay.
Our 4 times great grandmother was German.
Okay.
Primus Jacobs, the Revolutionary War guy, was married to a woman whose last name was Futch, Futch.
Okay.
The Futches were part of the Swiss and the German people that founded New Bern. They took it from the Tuscarora.
Okay.
In the late 1600s, I think.
Okay.
So we know that Futch lineage came from the Palatine, I think that's the way you pronounce it, area of what is today Germany. Migrated to New Bern, took it from the Tuscarora. Then some of them dropped down to Pender County, and Primus Jacobs married one of the daughters.
Yeah.
So that's my 4th time great grandmother.
Okay.
Because Primus is my 4th time great grandfather. We do not spend a whole lot of time talking about how German we are. Ain't nobody in my family trying to wear lederhosen.
Yeah.
I think we need to think about why and how passionately we are devoted to being Indian. But we're not trying to be German or English or Angolan.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. So, got another one for you. Check this out. Or, she said maybe none of them. They just might be black and white men. Listen.
I think that girl come from good stuff. Do you know her?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hey, I think I do. I think we know her. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, that's interesting. That just, yeah. So, anybody got any more questions for Mr. Tyrone here? While y'all doing that, I'm gonna let y'all see if y'all got any questions. I gotta actually look at something real quick while y'all doing that. You enjoy yourself so far, sir? You enjoy yourself the whole interview?
Oh yeah.
Okay. While y'all, I'm gonna get everybody a few seconds while they doing that, and see if they got anybody got anything they want to talk about or got any questions. Okay. Let's see. Maybe none of them. Anybody ask questions yet? Nope, not yet. So anyway, give them a few minutes. But yeah, we thank you. Well, I'm waiting on them. We thank you for coming on, sharing a lot of information. Do you have, if anybody want to get in contact, with you, I guess wanting to get more information about the workshops or anything like that?
I've got, like I said, the Facebook page. If you're a family member, you can see a great portion of my family history, our family history, at one of our the sort of the big story. The website is freeinva.org.
Mm-hmm.
So FREE free
Mm-hmm.
INNVA Virginia.org. So freeinva.org.
Okay.
You can see the whole story of. We tell the story from Angola to North Carolina,
mm-hmm.
and that's narrated by a West African man.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tell the story from North Carolina back to Angola, and that's narrated by Tyson. And you can also email me there. My email address is there. So that's Facebook page, freeinva.org. And then sort of our family reunion website, our family history website is tenderrock.org. PNDER.org. And that has pictures, it has funeral programs, it has that kind of stuff, like stuff that's pertinent to our current family.
Okay. You got the information, so we appreciate you. Let me show this everybody real quick. And for those, family does matter, right? So family definitely matters. And I got this thing I want to show everybody real quick. Let me see. So yeah, look at me. I got some merch. Family matters. If y'all want to get one of those, I got other items, and I'll show that to y'all. Y'all can ask me for the link. There we go, because we all both agree that family does matter. So absolutely, because you got to know, your family, land, and all that good stuff. And it's just good to know so you can pass it down to other generations and just keep it going. Because the last thing you want to, like you said, is we don't want history to be lost. Because there are some people, it's get to a stopping point and they have nowhere to go. And we want to make sure that those people can get the chance to, not just stop there, but piece stuff together and be able to know who their family are. So thank you, Mr. Tyrone Goodwyn. We appreciate it, cuz. Thank you.
I appreciate you, cuz.
All right, y'all have a good one, and we are logging. We'll see you in next couple lives. We're gonna say this real quick. Actually, you might be able to share this too. Next couple lives we got coming up. We got a Mother's Day live coming up and Father's Day. So, and we'll I'll promote for that. But again, thank you, sir. Everyone have a good night.
Good night, fam.
All right.